Hey everyone, and welcome back to the next round of elimination. We're here in the semifinals, week 2, day 1, match 2 of the Alienware Arena Cup. Cognitive Gaming defeats Snipe Gaming and moves on to the semifinals to face off against TSM. The winners, first place, and winners of over $100,000 a launch event. It's going to be a match to see.
Yeah, it's really going to be an exciting one, especially with the roster changes on TSM.
That's right.
We're not going to see Young Bae. We're going to see, formerly of Cloud9, Smek. And, you know, just meeting Smek at the launch tournament, you got to think his attitude and his personality is going to be a great addition to the team, any team. He is such a positive guy, and that positivity is so vital.
He really is. He's so polite and so gentle, and I feel like he just really feels what's going on and really wants to be a part of it. And I think one of the biggest things for TSM as well, not that I'm saying that Young Bae isn't great either, because I love Young Bae, and he's been one of the better hunters, if not one of the best hunters we've seen in this game, especially in Europe throughout the history of Smite through closed beta, open beta, into release as well, is that Smek is just so great at innovating. He's very open-minded. He likes playing Chronos. He'll play Nuwa. He'll play all these different characters in the long lane. Not Freya, because that's ridiculous. But he's just playing these different things that really bring life to the long lane. And as we've seen throughout the history of these really big events, is the teams that are willing to experiment, the teams that are willing to kind of acquiesce with what's going on in the engagement, are the ones that do the best.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to see if these teams are going to use that experimentation going into a game mode they're less familiar with. Now, at this point, they've been scrimming Arena. They've been playing 2 days of a tournament so far, a third of the way through the third day. But now let's talk about the bans. We've got Freya banned out, Shibalanke banned out, both for Cognitive Gaming, and that's 2 long-range auto-attack hyper carries. Zeus removed. I don't think TSM wants to see MLC Stealth on Zeus after they saw what he was able to do last game. Pressured the whole time, didn't really use his ultimate in the way that a lot of Zeuses do, but was still able to carve through Snipe, get that top damage, and do a really strong job of controlling that game.
I'm surprised they didn't ban out Ares here. We haven't seen COG have an inclination towards Ares at all, but it could be more that they just want to have a counter to whatever they're about to pick here. So Shibalanke gone, not surprising. Zeus gone, not surprising. Like you mentioned, MLC on Zeus before was very, very effective. Freya getting picked off here, not really surprising either, but it looks like they're going to be hovering and locking Geb in as their first pick for COG, starting off right. And honestly, if Geb had no abilities but his 3, he'd still be a great addition in the arena.
That's true, but he does have abilities other than his 3. Now, rollout's not a huge factor, but Cataclysm, when you put a Blink next to it, is very, very strong. I'd expect this pick to go to Jeff Himla, and I'd expect Blink Cataclysms much like we saw Blink Intoxicates. But if Bacchus is also on the table, we might see that on Jeff too. Now we've got a hover on Bastet, which is just such a strong character, something that's been played a lot longer in the European scene, will be locked in along with Odin, and Cuvo Fred's just so comfortable in this character, and I really can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table with that.
Oh, absolutely. We have kind of forgot about Ur, though. Ur has been he's been a talking point, I feel like, since the day he came out, and people wondering, when's he going to be used in tournament? Is he going to be useful? Is he broken? Is he too much, too little? And I think we're going to see that today with COG picking him up in the arena setting, possibly. They were hovering on Scylla. They're going to swap over to Bacchus, Scylla, so no Ur today. But they did lock in Odin for TSM. I like this a lot. I think Odin is just a fantastic character right now. Works so great in Conquest, and I was really surprised to see him not utilized last game, but this time around, Bastet and Odin locked in, and again, you do see the fact that they banned Zeus and then picked Odin. That's actually a really strong combo there, because anyone that has a strong AoE, like Zeus, like Cupid, Hades, or Isis, they can counter Odin's ultimate and kind of save their teammates, but in this situation, there's nothing available. Isis locked in, Odin locked in, Sun Wukong locked in, Bastet locked in. So far, the only person that can't get out of the Odin Spears on TSM is Isis.
Yeah, but she's gonna be comfortable within those spears, because when you add the protections from Odin's Ring of Spears to that circle of protection, even if you're a squishy mage like Isis, you're not going to feel like one. The amount of damage that you take is going to be very little in comparison to Isis in the middle of the field getting cavalry charged down by characters such as Guan Yu, currently hovered on. And we do have the Chronos locked in, probably once again for Barracuda, but it's going to be a switch to Tyr. I'll lock that in. My money's giving that one to Annenster, but it could be on Omega. Either way, I love Tyr, and I can't wait to see some beautiful Tyr play. I think Annenster, when it comes down to Tyr play, I think he's the best at doing that little move where he runs at you and then does like a 130-degree turn and just scoops you back in. Not the blink, it's just running at you, and it is horrifying.
It is horrifying. I mean, being picked up by Tyr, especially when you don't have purification beads up. And for those of you who don't know, the first hit of Tyr's Fearless in Assault stance is considered a grab, and then the second one is a knockup. And so you can't really specifically beads that first one, but you can beads the second one if you are caught up with it. Chang'e actually picked up here for TSM, giving them some good AoE potential and heals. Plus, Chang'e can do a lot of damage if given the opportunity. We're going to see Kog go for the same archetype. And this is kind of how Kog was in the lead up, the path to the 100K, up to the 200K, of course, is that, they're very consistent. They like filling the same roles, the same archetypes. They switch around what fills those roles, but they definitely have the same roles here. In fact, the last 3 games we've watched them, and they've done the same thing. 3 very moderate damage, moderate tankiness bruisers, whether they be magical or physical, and then 2 very strong burst mages, one that does basic attacks and one that does hard-hitting hits here. So you have Tyr, Bacchus, and Geb, and then you have Scylla as that bursty mage, and then Chronos as that bursty / basic attack central mage there. And so there's a lot of potential for them to be able to pull this same thing together. And obviously it's been working, but they have to test it against the battle-hardened TSM overall. Bastet, Odin, Isis, Sun Wukong, and Chang'e being picked up here. Chang'e going to provide a lot of defense, a lot of healing, a lot of control and damage, plus the ultimate, which can stun upward of 5 seconds, plus Isis Circle Protection for the damage and reduction, of course the healing to follow up, and Sun Wukong in their face, Odin in their face, and Bastet running interference. I feel like both teams have a great lineup here to see how the first game lines up. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the second matchup of today. It's going to be a semifinal round. TSM versus Kog Gaming. Best of 3 is underway. This is the first game of the set. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining us today in the Alienware Arena Cup Week 2. $10,000 on the line. We're in the semifinal round today. Cognitive Gaming face up against Team SoloMid. We'll see who can pull out ahead. It's a best of 3. You're at the start of it here. So this is game 1. So we still have a guaranteed game 2 regardless of who wins here. But we'll introduce our teams nonetheless. Cognitive Gaming, the bottom side of the map. The blue team on the left side of your screen. Jeff Hinla on Geb. The Earth moves. Annenster, he's playing Tyr. We got Barracuda on Chronos. And we'll see Stealth on Scylla yet again. On Megatron playing Bacchus.
On the other side of the map, that's the top side, and the red team, it's Team SoloMid. Cuvo Fred on Bastet, Game Hunter on Sun Wukong, Lobster on Isis, Youngbei on Chang'e, and Trix Tank on Odin.
Odin is just the talk of the town. He's been that way for so long, and Odin has such a strange history of coming in and out of the competitive seed so consistently. The wave gets through more efficiently by TSM as they stack up their waves, or stack up their buffs a little more efficiently, getting the AoE together, and then jumping in. You can see with the Wingus, with the Chang'e damage, with the AoE and the Jingle Bang, they're able to clear the wave very effectively, and Kog has been put on the defensive.
Yeah, Cognitive's clear is rather weak right now. In fact, every character on their team except for Tyr is a pretty weak clearing character. Tyr, though, a solo laner, it's a different scenario, and he's not really able to clear here either, so they're just gonna use all of the weak clear they have and eventually get it done, but they're getting pressured very hard here, and TSM, they could push forward and potentially look for engagement and try and push those creeps in. It would be a difficult task, but if they succeeded, it could be a very, very strong victory. We do have level 5 coming out across the board. These teams have their ultimates available. They're going to be ready to fight, and, look out for that blink initiation. There are 3 blinks on the field right now. You've got the Tyr blink, you've got the Bacchus blink, and you've got the Odin blink. Anyone could blink in and start a fight.
And Mr. Getting that tier 2 blink for himself, blinking in. He's already blinked in once to try and get the initiation on Trickstank, but just could not do it, and so ended up having to fall back. This is the starting lineup for the #1 team coming out of the Smite Launch tournament. So TSM feeling pretty confident here, and you can see the two teams that are playing in this match right now. They're playing very cautiously in the beginning. This is pretty much how you play Arena. You want to get the early stacks. You want to get the last hits on every single minion possible. In fact, I think both teams have been perfect in that aspect. In fact, they have. Oh no, looks like Cog is gonna get. Oh no, so perfect. So right on top, both teams have hit the same amount of last hits there, wave for wave, as we're lined up here. So surprisingly enough, neither of these teams have messed up yet.
Wait. No, it can't be, because it's 6 minions per wave. That's an odd number. So they both missed the same number of last hits, which is even more impressive, right?
Right.
Because 6, it's 12, 18. It can't rest at 259 unless they've both messed up equally, which I think is a little bit more interesting. I believe it's 1 last hit miss from both teams. 2. Okay. So likely in that early stage when you've got the very weak clear, and it's entirely possible for some minion to die to something else, because Scylla's Crush is only taking off 1/3 of their health, or Jeff Hendla on Geb, his Shockwave is doing no damage at all. I mean, it's like 80, I think, but we do have the Odin cage coming out. Barracuda gonna rewind immediately, able to just spin right out of that one. The cage is dropped, the cats are dropped, they're just harassing Omegatron, but here comes the Waxing Moon. It's gonna find 3 circle of protection, pressures out Cog. They're so close to their base though, and this is really a moment where you think about the defender's advantage. Omegatron not gonna find the belly flop, he's gonna just walk away. Game Hunter's decoy pushing forward, the wave also pushing forward, and Cog does need to clear this, but no kills will go out.
Spirit Ball in mid, Fearless there, coming out from Lobster, the player we like to see so much. And so, this is a little different for Cog. We've seen Cog dominate left and right, and now they're pushed back onto their back foot here. They're in front of their base the entire time. They're always defending the wave and the enemy team simultaneously, and TSM coming out with very strong performance and making sure that they have the pressure held. Now, granted, no kills have happened yet. The tickets are pretty even, though TSM has a slight lead, considering the fact that Cog, being on the defensive, has missed 3 extra last hits, so 5 total last hits missed for Cog. But that's bound to happen when you're pressed up against your portal, defending initiation or looking for the follow-up there. So surprisingly enough, Cog is the ones that have fallen behind so far, but only a small amount, which won't come down to blows until the very end here. So we're waiting for the first big initiation. Both teams being very cautious in the beginning, not wanting to give up a lot of clear there. Left buff camps will go to TSM. They're looking to grab the right ones as well. Movement speed does go to Cog, however, it's picked up damage buff. It's going to go to Cog, so it's a 2-2 split so far. There's still 2 buffs on the map, the blues on either side, so it looks like it's a pretty even split. The minion advantage is still slightly in TSM's favor, but not by a lot.
Yeah, it's really not, and I think a big factor when it comes to that minion advantage is Youngbei on Chang'e with those heals, right? Because if he heals at the right time, well, it could actually prevent a minion from dying to another minion. It could essentially give Cognitive Gaming an extra ticket they would have lost, or it could allow a minion to get through and survive from Cognitive's onslaught. But either way, the Odin cage is down. Circle protection not going to find Smark. Intoxicate. The cats, they're diving into the fountain, but Barracuda should be able to heal up, as the fountain does out-heal those cats only slightly, and mostly Stealth getting harassed by Game Hunter, but not too worried about that one. And once again, no kills off of a relatively big initiation. Cognitive Gaming, when it's wave for wave, it looks like they're going to be down 1 minion.
5 minutes in, 1 minion looks like to be the case. Oh, it looks like it's tied up now, surprisingly enough. Last hit there. Oh, yeah, so 1 minion away. TSM 1 minion ahead. But granted, we haven't had any kills yet, so very slow game in the beginning of this match. And I think both teams really understand how much one can swing in an arena, especially in a best-of-3 like this, going to the second match. No one wants to be down 1 game, because all it comes down to is that, if you get 6 tickets left, 5 tickets left, and you lose a kill you didn't intend to, all of a sudden sudden the whole series is over. And so they're playing it cautiously here. We do have a lot of damage potential from COG right now. Of course, they're playing for that late game like they always do, and that's maybe why they're not freaking out right now. There's a Fearless on Sun Wukong. He's not too worried about it. There goes the time stop, time rift combination. Not going to be as a fighter. Spirit Ball not going to land on tier either. Looking for the follow-up here as Omega goes in deep. Game Hunter followed up here on top. Looks like the Bacchus is there. Game Hunter's decoy will go down. I'm a Monster going to completely miss there as they disengage entirely. A lot of missed shots here.
Yeah, you know, these teams aren't able to find the angles. MLC still will receive Stoner Shield. Razor Whip comes through. It's only going to get about a tick and a half worth of damage as the Stone Shield mitigated the rest. And that goes to show you A, how strong Razor Whip is, and B, how strong Stone Shield is. But Circle of Protection on top of Waxing Moon, Cataclysm, Omegatron, very low Stone Shield, gonna keep him alive. Cubo Fred giving chase the Razor Whip. That will confirm first blood going to Team SoloMid. They're able to back out with 200 health. 300 health on about 2 or 3 targets. Wow. And still, it's just that 5-point difference, right? It's literally only the first blood that is the difference between these two teams.
You know, I'm very surprised to see 4 hides on TSM, considering that the only physical damage they're going to be taking is going to be from tier. They have a 4 magical, 1 physical split on COG, yet TSM is still evenly splitting their physical and magical protection with the Hide of the Urchin. Now keep in mind, the Hide of the Urchin is still very powerful. 45 physical protection, 45 magical protection, can help with the minions as well, and some health and mana and more protections. But honestly, with the lineup here and the fact that tier is their main focus of physical, they may want to just try to lean towards that magic protection. Now also granted, Geb's not going to do very much, if any. And so really they're looking at burst from Scylla, small intermittent bursts from Kronos, and then of course burst with no follow-up from Bacchus, and then tier for the interference. So maybe they're just considering and weighing their options here and saying tier, if he gets big, could be a huge factor.
Yeah, I mean, Tier's definitely a character if he gets ahead, and Enster's definitely a player to match that can really control the game by himself. Burst down squishies, 100 to 0, no problem. He's gonna blink in, not finding Youngbei there. But you know, you're right. I think an item like Silver Talisman, which is the rank 2 of Bulwark of Hope and Pestilence, it's about 1,200 gold for 45 magic protection and 200 health. That's roughly what you're getting from Hide the Urchin for half the cost. And I think that would be a lot more efficient. And then you just build it into a Bulwark of Hope when you feel like you really need that extra magic protection. The cage going to come down on the right side. Trix Tank in the ring with 4 members of COG. Waxing Moon will find 3. Spirit Ball coming through. Barracuda taken down. Anster trying to disrupt. He can't find it. Jeff Hindla forced to run out. I'm a Monster finds Cuvo. MLC still looking for the next hit. Not going to find it. He's in a tough spot, getting very low. Sentinel Zoe gets him out. Game Hunter gives chase. Barracuda cleaning up Youngbei, but this is just going to be a disengage. No, Anister looking for Lobster, not going to find him.
Spirit Ball coming out, going to hit 2. Barracuda caught out here. Rewind comes out. Available this time. Wasn't able to do it last time. Lobster backing out. Wingus going to buy some time here. I am surprised, thoroughly surprised, that Barracuda is comfortable going for Aegis Blink instead of Purification Beads, considering how much CC there is on the enemy team. Now, there isn't a whole lot of hard CC. There's a stun on Game Hunter. There's a slow on Bastet, there's a stun on Isis, and there's a stun on Chang'e. But other than that, he's not really too worried about everything else. But the biggest reason for picking up Purification Beads on Kronos is that you'd guarantee your rewind. And that last engagement, when he went down, he was stunned repeatedly and CC locked and then killed before he could actually start the rewind. Whereas if you have Purification Beads on Kronos, which is usually quite compulsory, especially in Conquest, is that the second you get the CC chain starts, you bead and then rewind immediately, you get out every single time, depending on the burst damage, which the levels of burst right now are quite low. So Barracuda goes down. However, COG was able to turn around and pick off Youngbei in response. It was a 1-for-1 kill and no follow-up there. So 2-2 right here. The tickets are, you know, relatively even, dead even actually. 1 ticket differential looks like. 2 tickets in favor of COG, but again, COG does have that very, very strong late game.
Yeah, you know, and part of the not fighting early thing, right? Now, the characters on TSM definitely come into their own in the mid-game, but Cognitive Gaming, there's no presence until the mid-game. We do have Lobster getting aggressed on. Cataclysm coming out. I'm a Monster will not connect. The Cats are chasing MLC Stealth. He's in a tough spot, but he's going to turn on Cubo. Cubo down to just 150 health. Anster trying to find him. It's Omega with the chase, but Trix Tank finds Barracuda. Cubo able to get out. Bastet is just so slippery.
She really is. She's able to jump in and jump out quite quickly. And of course, Barracuda going down again. Now finishing off that Aegis amulet to be able to just keep himself alive, or greater Aegis in this situation. So he just does not want to continue to go down 1, 2, and 1. But, you know, it was a great start for TSM. They were able to get another kill on the back end of that fight. Now pulling ahead in the tickets as the minion wave does go down. Wave for wave, though, it looks like it's a 1-ticket lead for COG overall. Seems like for that kill, or 2 tickets there, seems for that kill, they were able to get some minions in response on COG, and that's really what they play for. And the fact that they're this even, like you were mentioning, Kret, is the fact that, you know, when it comes down to late, you know, mid-game is really when they start to shine. Mid-game is when they start to show their presence, and then late-game COG has a lot of strength, but up until that point, they don't have a whole lot. And so if you don't capitalize on that, if you're keeping it even all the way until the end, or relatively close all the way to the end, when they start getting stronger, TSM may be finding themselves in a little bit deeper than they thought.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Kronos, right? In the early game, what does he do? Well, he stuns, but it can be cleansed by movement speed, so like sprint. And he doesn't die. Cubo Fred getting pressured down to half by Anster, forced to jump out. Omega looking for the chase, not gonna find it. It's just some damage on the Trix tank right now. He's gonna jump away. Game Hunter diving in, getting burst a fair amount, but Anster with that Fearless is gonna desync from the team, and when you're up in the air from Fearless, you don't take damage from quite a few sources. The ring comes down. Emily Stealth forced to back out with the sentry, but Anster, he's going in. Not going to find anyone just yet. Forced to back out. These engagements are so just slippery and fast and loose. It's really astonishing play.
It really is. And it seems like either team is just being as specific as they can and then disengaging when they need to. And, you know, you talk about some of these players, the best, you know, some of the best in the world. You're looking at, you know, the top 8 teams in the world went to the release tournament. Of course, COG was in the top 4. TSM was first place. And so, you know, it was really, really close overall, and a lot of closeness in talent and capability. And that's really what's making these fights so short-lived, is that, you know, there's plays being made on TSM's aggression and plays being made on COG's defense, and vice versa. And so you're going to see some very small differences here. Cuvo actually went for hi-rez Lament. He wants to try and burst down. Now, this also could be just for burst on Kronos when he's rewinding, just making sure that he's sitting still, trying to rewind. If they get a kill on him again, does not have Purification Bead, so by the time he's trying to rewind, it's going to be a close call. He doesn't have the way to break that chain, so he's rewinding as fast as he can afterwards. And of course, if they get a hold of Scylla, they're going to be able to burst him down quickly.
Speaking of get a hold of, Cubo is in a lot of trouble, taken down by Anster off of the root. Fearless, such a strong control ability there. The slow onto Lobster, heavenly agility, but Cataclysm coming out. MSC Stealth, he's in such a tough spot, drops the monster. Doesn't matter. Youngbei getting very low, trying to stay alive, able to get healed up, but Omega finds the kill, and now it's just the front line with Barracuda against the front line without any backline whatsoever. Cognitive Gaming able to get a really nice trade there, but they did lose MLC Stealth.
On top of that, 207 to 193, they got a pretty good ticket lead out of that one. Even being not wave to wave, they're still ahead in the ticket department. That's what's so great. It's a great feeling to have, to know that you're ahead in tickets even though you're behind the wave. So 186 to 203 is the actual split when it is wave to wave. We're not waiting for minions to be killed here. And this is kind of a 180 of what it was in the beginning. TSM kind of put COG in a corner forcibly and then put them back to their wall. They were standing in front of their portal for a good 3 to 4 minutes straight. They were losing last hits because they were under so much pressure, but COG stuck through it, and they were able to kind of master what TSM was putting out, and now they've hit the later stage of the game. In fact, we're now in late game considerably, only about 5 minutes left, 6 minutes left on the tickets as they fall naturally, and the minions are spawned organically. They're starting to hit their stride. You've got some penetration, some burst on Scylla, has this Obsidian Shard, Bancroft's Talent, and now Polynomicon, and looks like she's going to be going directly for that rod after that. Kronos has a lot of damage as well. There's the Blink Fearless on Chonga, the knockup, the Shockwave, Cataclysm on 3. Cerberus gonna hit the ground, and Odin tries to trap and only get. Primal Monster's gonna get the dunk, gets the kill on Youngbei, has one more to go, gonna hit the double hit there. There goes another kill, and a follow up on top of that. The Sikkim gets to there. This is the Kronos is gonna jump in on top of that. Does he have the damage he needs? Bazza getting away. The dunk from Fearless is gonna hit it. No Fearless needed actually, as he just dunks from the Lawbringer. Trixton gets stunned, belly flop, rooted, crippled, got nowhere to go. Knocked up again. Trixton goes down as well. The double spear ball from Lobster's going to send a message, but the message is well received as COG just got a wonderful victory.
3-4-0. Wow, what a trade. Cognitive looks so good there, and yeah, I mean, it really comes down to in the early game, they were pushed, they were pressured because they didn't have options. Scylla didn't do very much. She was a root with some damage and a little bit of wave clear. Barracuda was a stun and some poke that was kind of hard to kill. But now both Scylla and Chronos do a lot of damage. Cog just gonna freeze the wave, looking for last hits here manually. Fearless onto Trixtank. He's not gonna get particularly low from that, but the damage is starting to affect him as he jumps away. Stunned in midair will sort of teleport him forward, but no real damage coming out onto a priority target just yet. Game Hunter gets down to half. Cubo Fred, there's the damage, there's the priority target. Bastet is down, and those cats have not been very effective this game.
No, they really haven't. They're kind of getting ignored every single time, and that's really the downside of Bastet in the arena is that when you're in Conquest, base is so far away, and so we're gonna go ahead and kind of like rotating down, and then we're going moving into that. But you know, we noticed that some of you are having issues in chat with the stream itself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pause the game for everybody, bring the stream down, and then bring it right back up, and try and refresh the quality of the connection there, so you guys have a very fresh and clean connection there. So the stream will come down. Don't go anywhere. It'll come right back up the second it goes. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for being patient, and hopefully your lag issues have subsided and will never return ever again as long as you shall live. We're back in this matchup here. Just a brief recap. 144 to 114 on the scoreboard. The tickets are in favor of COG, and TSM is now forced to respond here. It's a best of 3. Game 1 is here. Trixtank jumps in. The crush on the ground. Cuba wants to fall up as well. The burst is heavy there. The silence is going to go away. I'm a monster. Gets it from the back end, and now Trixtank looking for a fall, but Barracuda, there's just too many in the way. I'm Monster not hitting it there. Cog has initiation. Game Hunter goes down. Killing spree for Omega as Jeff Hinla forces down the front line looking for a kill on TSM, but 2 is already what they have.
Wow, another great trade. 2 for 0. Not quite as good as 3 for 0, but you will definitely still take it. Now the Siege Tower going forward. Cognitive, I think like 2 people went back into the fountain there. They're still very, very high in their health. A Fearless onto Youngbae going to use his bees. He's forced back out. Trixtank trying to damage down the tower. The cats on Jeff Hinla, they're not going to do damage where it counts. But TSM will turn on that Siege Tower. Is getting very low. Youngbae able to block it from going in, and Cog can't find the payload delivery. But it was still, I mean, that was a good push. That's what you have to do. They just won a team fight, though. They didn't have their ultimates up, and that's the difficulty of the payload, right? You just gotta kill. You just use resources on a kill. Now, how do you push forward?
You know, I'm really surprised to see TSM running, 1 active on Youngbae, Cubo, Fred, and Game Hunter. They certainly could have space for even just tier 1 to use it once to get themselves out of a fight or get the kill that they need. And so, they're kind of slowing that down a bit. Blink coming out from tier, not going to find Lobster as he disengages away from that. Movement speed from Wingus is going to be enough, but he does actually have tier 3 greater Blink, and so they'll be able to use that pretty shortly here as it comes off of a cooldown. Just looking for the kills, and 110 to 63, Cog does not have to play this aggressively at all. They can honestly just sit and clear waves, hang back, and use the gap to advantage, which is always a great strategy. Tighten that noose a little more and more every wave that comes out. Bogging the Toxicate, looking for Youngbae. Purification bees used there. It just goes for the dance. The Lobber goes through as well. Good silence, good Spirit Ball. Lobster making short work of Anderson as he tries to dash away. The Fearless shoulder attack will take out Youngbae, and now looking for Bassett. She jumps away very low. The Cat's looking for MLC, can't get it. Sunukong over there. They have agility, buys distance though. Cubo's getting low. Bacchus wants it. Omega, Anderson's not getting the Fearless. The belly bump's not gonna land. Belch of the Gods is not available, and Cubo Fred will survive. The silence is gonna come out. Spirit Ball looking for Omega, but Omega is so tanky. Belly Flop's gonna come up very soon. They gotta burst this down if they want it. They're gonna get it. Omega goes down as well. The Spears are still down as well. Going up on Lobster. Lobster dropping lower. Spirit Ball's gonna hit Barracuda, forcing him to disengage entirely as Game Hunter rejoins back in the fight. The Crush will clear the wave, but what a strong engagement that was.
Yeah, a really nice engagement. I'm a Monster, not going to find Game Hunter. He's able to get out of there, but that's what TSM needs to do, and they need to keep doing it soon, because Cognitive Gaming right now is sitting up about 42 points, and that's a very comfortable lead to go into the final 10 with. It's, let's call it about 10,000, right? Not insurmountable, but a difficult comeback for sure. And Man, Cognitive is just really, really playing this well, even if that last fight didn't go too well. And I think a big part of it was Barracuda was bursted down before he could rewind. That needs to happen again if TSM wants to take this game and go into the next game 1-0.
1-0 is a great place to be in a best of 3, especially in an arena where it's harder to control all the factors, and really with a shorter time frame, a lot of mistakes can be extrapolated very quickly, whereas Conquest, you had a longer duration trying to fix your mistakes throughout the match if you fall behind early, but arena is just so fast and furious, and sometimes it gets away from you without you even realizing. Left side camps will go to TSM here, right camps respawning. Looks like Cog is going to be over there to clear both of them simultaneously, so 2-for-2 swap. The blue buff are not really a big concern. They just want the movement speed and attack speed, and they also want the damage for their big burst targets on the backside. We do have a Megatron picking up a Pestilence here, trying to slow down the healing coming in from Chang'e, which at this point is going to be about 9,000 healing, which is no small feat. 3,000 there for Isis is blinking from Odin, trapping inside 2. Purification beats in each time it popped there from Barracuda. The Greater Aegis does buy time, looking for a Lobster. The belly flop's like that. Cataclysm is avoided completely up in the cloud. Instead of Kong, Rewind's going to avoid the Spirit Ball coming out from Isis. I'm a Monster hits nobody as Steer blink or jumps in place with Lobster. The blink from Lobster buys distance. Silence interrupts Belch of the Gods. Beautiful play there. Now the big pop on Omega. He has the belly block coming soon. There it is. Gets the distance. Spirit Ball's not far enough. Tricksync will survive as well after keeping the entirety of Cog at bay while they were trying to fight off the Bacchus. And it looks like we're going to see no kills.
Yeah, MLC stealth. Oh, there's a kill. The moment you say it, it's the caster's curse.
Caster's curse.
You know what happened there was Barracuda and MLC stealth were able to escape. They got back to their fountain, they healed up, and that kill onto Lobster was huge. 36-2. All Cog needs to do is kill this minion, then kill the next one, and they're going to 5-man rush that minion the moment he spawns, because even if they're wiped, they still will be able to get the minion. It's Omegatron going up in the front. He blinks forward. He looks for the minion. Belch of the Gods, Barracuda secures it. The minion falls 29-0. That's how you end an arena game. Nice and comfortable. Cognitive Gaming looked so good.
You know, Cog has such a great strategy going into these arena matches. It seems like they've been practicing and preparing. They run the 3 bruisers and the 2 hard-hitting mage burst characters, and every single time they play for the late game, they know that arena can be quite fickle, that sometimes it can change, sometimes that it'll be wildly different on either side of the spectrum, but when it comes down to it, you're gonna make it to late game. You're gonna get the items that you want. The gold tick in arena is very high. The minions provide a lot of gold. The minion camps provide a lot of gold as well. The buff camps on the side, and eventually you will get to the point where you are saturated enough to hit very hard with these late game characters like Scylla, like Chronos. Popping over the damage tab, we'll check out exactly how the damage went down. 24k for Scylla, and that's gonna be the most in the game. 100%. No way anyone can question how much damage MLC did on Scylla there. But one thing to note is there was a coin toss prior to the beginning of this match, and it was chosen to be on an EU server. So this was a home game for TSM, and Cog was able to pull it out quite spectacularly. I mean, TSM, they came out strong. They had the aggression in the beginning. They pushed Cog up against a wall, but Cog kind of just ignored it, sat with it, farmed up enough, and came out strong afterwards.
Yeah, and I mean, a big part of it was just Barracuda and MLC Stealth were very hard to kill. Now, Barracuda did have the most death on his team, but think about how many resources had to be put into those deaths, right? Because he's got a stone shield to protect him. He's got his Aegis. He's got his, I believe it was a combat blink. Yeah, a combat blink. And he's got rewind. I mean, so hard to kill. We're going to be going into our next game very soon to see if once again Cog can apply that 3 frontline, 2 mage backline strategy that's been working so well for them. And you know, maybe it's going to come down to bans. Can TSM ban out this strategy from Cognitive?
I don't think you can. I mean, with 2 bans, this is not possible. We've seen literally the last 3 games we've watched Cognitive Gaming, they have swapped a different, I mean, it's the same archetype, but it's different characters every time. You have Athena, you have Bacchus, you have Odin, you have these different, or I'm sorry, you have, Athena, Bacchus, you have, it's some really strong bursts there. You have Tyr, you put it in with Sun Wukong, then you have Chronos, Scylla, Zeus. It seems like they have a lot to choose from in that role, that they're able to swap in anybody if there's any bans. And, you really have to pick out the ones that are really the highest value and take those out. I think Bacchus is one of them. Now, they did steal Bacchus away and get that one locked in for themselves, and maybe taking that one out of the picture is a big benefit. Who knows? Tyr didn't seem to be driving it home, and maybe, honestly, it's got to be Scylla. Scylla just brings it home so hard at the late stage of the game that if you don't close it out early with 100-plus tickets, the damage is going to come raining down, and it's really hard to deal with for other people without worrying about, 2,000 damage just growing out of the ground like a weed.
The other thing you have to account for, right, is that was a home server game for TSM. Do you really want to deal with Answer's Tyr on North America when he could already do a decent job on EU? Now, he didn't kill it. That wasn't lights out, amazing, control the game, win by himself Tyr play, but it was pretty good. It'll do the job. It definitely did the job. Now put it on NA when he's going to hit closer to 80-90% of those Blink Fearlesses. That's going to be really rough to deal with. And I think part of it is, what do you ban? Like you said, the highlights, I think Scylla, but then that leaves things on the table. That leaves Zeus. That could leave Xbalanque.
That's right.
And I think Xbalanque would be the one character that COG would break the rules for. I think they would play Xbalanque in place of Kronos or Freya for Barracuda. That ultimate is just too strong, especially if they get Bacchus.
Well, they have the ultimate. Every single one of Xbalanque's abilities is AoE, and so, you're going to be seeing lots of split damage, plus you have the branching bolas, every single target, big crit. It's going to be hitting and splitting and hitting targets behind it. And then you have the ultimate, which is, probably one of the most underrated ultimates in the game, where people say, oh, Xbalanque's ultimate is worst. And in fact, it's a fantastic teamfight ultimate, especially if used in a 5v5 setting, which almost every setting in Arena is 5v5, unless people have died or disengaged completely. And so, Xbalanque on Barracuda is a little bit of a terrifying combination where you think about Xbalanque in Arena, and you think about Barracuda on a Hunter. It's certainly something I agree 100%. That's something they would break the rules for, and they're looking to kind of bring that up the most that they can and see if they can close it out 2-0. They had the 2-0 against Snipe. It wasn't an easy road, but they made it work, and now they're coming up against TSM, and it seemed like they were locked out. TSM came out strong. They were putting their reputation on the line as, the winners of the launch tournament. They were number one in the world just about a month ago, and they're thinking, okay, we're going to come in, we're going to conquer this, and COG says, yeah, it's not going to be that easy, especially like we've mentioned a couple times, the fact that they weren't on an EU server and COG was able to pull it out. So, we'll see how that works in the next picking stage. You got the bans. Scylla, I think, is a main driving point, but you mentioned it. Bastet's still available if you split it that way. Freya's still available. Tyr's still available. You have other splits there. Xbalanque, COG is going to be pulling in here, and TSM coming together on the screen, as you can see. And so the first ban to come out is going to be Xbalanque from Cognitive.
Yeah, I think it's just they're not willing to first pick Xbalanque, and they don't want to give him away as a second pick. Now, Geb will be banned out. I think Team SoloMid has realized their mistake letting that one through, as Cataclysm was a really big factor. And Stone Shield, I don't want to talk about Stone Shield. It makes me uncomfortable. That ability is so frustrating. And frustrating abilities in a tournament setting are even more powerful, because if you could put someone on tilt, it's just a multiplicative advantage. It's absolutely insane.
We do have Xbalanque and Freya banned out. Geb is going to be banned out as well. Now waiting for the last ban coming out from TSM. What will it be? It's going to be Bastet. It's going to be shot over to see if Anus or even wants Bastet, but now first pick potential is coming for them. They have a lot on their plate. Tyr seemed to be very effective for them last game. Scylla, very effective as well. Zeus is still available. Odin is still available. What will they try to go for here? They're going to hover on Zeus. Will they lock this in? This might go to MLC yet again. In fact, it would go to MLC if they locked it in here. Waiting to see what they want to decide with. They're going to lock in Zeus.
Now, what's amazing about Zeus is he's a character where, like a lot of strong picks, like a lot of first picks, he determines the way you build your team. He also determines the way your opponents build their team. Team SoloMid gonna lock in Bacchus Odin. They're actually taking away two strong frontline picks from Cognitive Gaming that they would have liked to have. We could see Guan Sun Wukong here. That would be my guess, as I'm not sure Team SoloMid would want to run tier cross server. I mean, it's a difficult proposition. You have to be really on point to do that.
Well, Anderster did it, so maybe they're willing to accept the challenge. But you're right. I mean, Bacchus has been in every single game, and he's been strong in every single game. And we're valuing him at very high. He has a lot of damage output, also very highly mobile, and has a very strong teamfight ultimate. Kronos has been a driving point for COG as well, and so maybe Barracuda wants to play Kronos again. That is still available. Guan Yu, as you predicted, Kret, is going to be hovered on here. One more pick to be selected. Seno Kong swapped over, actually, also predicted by yourself. Kronos hovered here, and it looks like Kronos and Seno Kong locked in, so they still have their last two picks to be bruisers/brawlers if they want to fit it up.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a great way to start your draft, right? Because it leaves ambiguity. They don't necessarily have to pick anything, but it will be the tier lock-in, or it will be the, Scylla and tier lock-in from Team SoloMid. They want to take that Scylla away from, or not take it away from MLC South, but they want to show them that they can run Scylla 2. Tier, they're going to also show them they can run Scylla 2, and I think Team SoloMid is adapting. They've got a 3-man front line, just like Cognitive did. They've got a strong mage in the back, Scylla, just like Cognitive did, and now it's up to Cognitive to finish up their draft with those strong frontline picks. Guan Yu will be hovered on, Athena will be hovered on, Guan Yu locked in, and Athena, well, it's still a hover, but we're probably gonna see that Athena locked in. As we've seen it before, it was effective. You've got synergy with Guan Yu, and it will be the Athena lock-in.
Athena Guan Yu, a terrifying combo ever since Athena ended up coming out. Of course, you have the immunity and high mobility from the cavalry charge, the warhorse from Guan Yu, and with Athena priming on top of him, they don't really have anywhere to go, and if you time it right, you can actually stun them from the cavalry charge and then have Athena junk down right afterwards to guarantee that they won't use any movement abilities to disengage. And so you have the Senu Kong, Athena, Guan Yu bruiser lineup, then you have Kronos and Zeus lined in. They're going to fit the exact same archetype, and this is what COG does. They find something that works and they do it over and over and over again until they find someone that can beat it. And TSM, I feel like the fans would agree, TSM's definitely up there, especially after their win in the launch tournament. They're the ones that would beat it and figure it out here. So because they picked up Scylla last year and locked it in, they're going to be the ones that are actually going to be they're going to be the ones that are going to be stealing the Scylla away, which has been a driving force for COG. And then of course they took away Bacchus as well. So by banning out Geb, banning out Bastet, and then taking some of the characters that COG may have wanted, they pushed them into a slight corner, but I feel like COG is still comfortable with what they got.
Yeah, I think they really are. And you know, it's interesting, right? It seems like Team SoloMid has elected to fight fire with fire, which is certainly a good plan. You don't necessarily have time to figure out a counter to an entire playstyle between Game 1 and Game 2. Now, maybe between today and tomorrow, if Cognitive does move on to the Grand Finals, or if Team SoloMid does move on to the Grand Finals using this strategy, someone will come up with a counter to it. But for now, there's just not enough time to think through all the possibilities. What I am interested in, though, Scylla's a very difficult character to play. She has some difficult skill shots. Monster is not easy to connect with. Your positioning has to be very precise, even though you do have that movement ability. And Youngbei, as a Hunter player, I'm not sure how comfortable he's going to be on this character. I'm not sure anyone aside from Team SoloMid knows that, and I think that's going to be a factor.
Oh, absolutely, and that's really, you have to be careful about it as it grows throughout the rest of the game. You also keep in mind that COG is up Game 1, and so TSM has to be very serious with how they assess the situation between COG and TSM and how the picks actually went. But this is going to be the lineup, guys. We're in the second game of this best of 3 in the semifinal round of today's tournament. The finals will be tomorrow. The semifinals are today, and we want to know who's going to pull it out in the end. COG versus TSM. Game 2 will take place very shortly. Stick around. Welcome back. Brief update, everybody. We're waiting on a player to get back into the game, get ready to go. So look where we are right now. Alienware Arena Cup. We're in the second week here, so we're coming up on the end here. $10,000 in the prize pool available for these teams. We're in the semifinal round, so definitely a lot to be seen here. Of course, this is game 2 in the best of 3 between TSM and Cognitive Gaming. We just watched Cognitive Gaming versus Snipe, and that was a phenomenal game to watch there. It was a 2-0 victory for COG, but Snipe put in their chops there. Almost pushed it to 3 games, but it was close enough. COG pulls it out, now comes to the second round of today, which is the round of 4 semifinals up against TSM. It seemed like they had a rocky road in the start, but they definitely made themselves shine towards the end of that last match.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of that comes to the picks. They had very, very strong picks. But if you ran that composition in Conquest, you would lose immediately because you don't have an early game. Kronos doesn't, he's not a threat early. Scylla, not really much of a threat early. Geb is vulnerable early. I mean, you just pick on him, you kill him in Conquest. In Arena though, well, TSM wasn't able to press that advantage sufficiently. They did get first blood, but they really only got 1 kill until Cognitive's carries came online and were able to do their job. But now let's take a look at the brackets, and we're going to talk about the players and the teams who have gone through to our semi-final round. Obviously, this is Cognitive Gaming versus Team SoloMid, but on the other side, Exposed Secrets against the Game Changers, 2 new teams. And for those who don't know, Exposed Secrets is the rename and a throwback. It was Team Kicked, and Exposed Secrets was a team that came out a long time ago.
Oh my God! Well, it's Victoria's Secret, then the Exposed Secrets, and then there was just a lot of history there with all the players that are still in the scene now. And so Game Changers came out, and they, I feel that Game Changers is a very apropos name for them. They certainly have been changing the game as they've come out so far. So very strong performance by both these teams. We're gonna be watching the next semifinal round, Exposed Secrets versus Game Changers. After this, they are waiting for us, and we're gonna be watching both those today to lead up to the grand finals tomorrow. But with these 4 teams in the top list, you got to be excited about what's going to happen tomorrow, because we have so many teams that are so good at this game now coming into a game mode where I feel like it's more of an even playing field because of the fact that none of these players really have a history in Arena, other than the fact that, hey, they see the $10,000 price tag and realize, hey, maybe we should learn Arena. It's not like this thing where everyone has this long-standing history with Conquest. They've been practicing and playing Conquest since they were, in a way born into Smite. And so, you had this very strong difference here. But we're going to be heading into Game 2 here, TSM versus COG. COG won Game 1, so TSM, if they lose this, they lose it all, and they will be knocked down away from their chance at the final. So in order to be knocked up to the grand finals tomorrow, TSM has to win this game and then the next one.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough because now this game is on EU servers, and the ruling, first game's a coin flip. Second game, loser gets their servers. I believe it's a choice of server versus first pick, something like that. Game 3, if TSM gets there, it's likely going to be on North America. Cognitive Gaming once again has to take the victory on EU, and that's going to be tough to do, but they did it once before. They could probably do it again, and part of it is they're not picking characters that are particularly difficult on high ping. So Wukong's Jingo Bang is an ability that it actually feels like you can only miss when you're lagging because you can correct up until the final moment. And I've actually played on EU and I've missed that ability. I'm like, oh god, I really must be getting
I missed the magic here. Cudgel. I'm done.
You feel bad. But that's the other thing is, can these teams stay collected? Can they avoid getting frustrated? That was a frustrating loss for Team SoloMid, and they were probably up against some frustrating picks. Not getting the kills repeatedly because of Geb's Stone Shield is just soul-crushing. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get him, Stone Shield. He walks out. And that happened quite a few times.
Well, like I said, Geb's main focus is Cataclysm, like you said, and then the Shield. The Shield is so valuable in Arena. It's an ability that really shines in team fights because you can protect the valuable character or the vital character that may be focused and get them out before they die. And if you save that life, it's worth so much. But in Arena, it just gets amplified. Everything's about team fights. Everything's about skirmishes and engagements. Everything's about getting those kills and getting the tickets down. But Stone Shield negates that very strongly. So them banning out Geb have. Smart play there. But also, looking at this game, there's some late game potential now for TSM, very similar to the lineup for COG, and maybe they're kind of just aligning themselves with what COG has been doing. They themselves have 3 bruisers. They have Tyr, Odin, and Bacchus, and then they have their late game magic damage, Isis, and Scylla. Scylla, she is literally a monster with damage output, and she is terrifying to go up against if she makes it to late game. Same thing goes for Isis. Now, Isis is a little bit more modest in that aspect, but she does start out very slowly, and if you get to late game Isis, you can Spirit Ball, basic attack, Wing Gust, and instantly one-shot somebody. Just make them disappear, and of course the ultimate can do upwards of 1,000 damage when it pops, plus healing. There's a lot of serious damage that Isis can do, and like we mentioned in the last game, the longer that Spirit Ball travels, the more damage it does, and the longer it stuns for. And so if you get those long-distance snipes plus the silence, there's a lot that Isis can do late game as well. So a lot of strong potential for late game. So I think TSM's going to be a little more comfortable here, considering the fact that they're not really playing for the early win or trying to get the early gap clear between the two, so that if they're 100 tickets ahead, we can sit back and clear minions, we'll be able to win this game regardless, whereas COG was kind of waiting for their chance to shine. I think both teams have a really strong lineup for Arena.
Yeah, they do, but the other thing I want to talk about is difficulty to play these characters. Now, when a new pick comes out for your role that's very strong, like Scylla for mid laners, you live, eat, and breathe that character, right? It's a character that you get very, very comfortable with. Youngbei, being a hunter player, might not be as comfortable as MLC Stealth was or Lobster might have been, but, also, Isis has a very tough decision to make with that ultimate. Circle Protection brings so much to a team fight. It's such an impactful ultimate, but you have to decide how to use it. Do you leave it on the ground, let it charge up, let it heal up, and explode it for massive damage to someone who's crowd controlled in there, or do you just do the drop and pop? And either way, that's a tough decision. That's the kind of decision that can win or lose a team fight by itself. And you really have to think about a lot of different factors when you're looking to make that decision. It's going to be difficult for Lobster to do in every team fight over and over and over, but if he does, you could see a very commanding performance coming out of Team SoloMid.
Absolutely. That's what they're hoping for. And so we're going to be hopping into the game now as everything gets started up. COG versus TSM Game 2 in the best of 3 is underway. Hop into the game now. Let's introduce our players. Bottom side of the map, COG. Ooh, wait. Is TSM looking for the build-up steal? Then they spot it out. Looks like they did spot it out. A little bit too preemptive. Maybe they're trying to steal us away. The Fearless as well. Jet Finland throwing the Spirit Ball lands as well. The silence. There goes the crush. Do they have the damage? Jet Finland gets knocked down. Gets taken out. There goes the kill. First blood. TSM now looking for the follow-up. Game Hunter gets a little follow-up. There's a 1-for-1 exchange. A 2-for-1 exchange. Looks like it goes down huge. We have a death on both sides. Game Hunter and Lobster get picked off in the meantime, and TSM's initiation falls so short.
Yeah, that's the perfect turnaround to first blood, but Barracuda is going to be in a lot of trouble, taken down by Game Hunter on Bacchus, now sitting 2-1. 2-2 overall between these two teams, and the the mid lane clear is in favor of TSM right now. They have control. An unfortunate death by Barracuda there. Cognitive Gaming, I think, really nailed that, right? If you're gonna give up first blood, that sucks. But if you can get 2 kills for it and kill the person who got first blood, that's really better, especially in Arena.
Arena, it's the initiation that means so much, and the kills overall. And, look at the tickets, 476 to 484. The menu wave is just a little bit less than wave to wave, and so there goes now wave to wave. 4-ticket differential, so TSM is out on top. Like you mentioned, it is a little bit better to make sure that you get the first start. The kills were even. Barracuda ended up going down, so that was one of the deaths, and of course Jeff Hindley going down. And so as long as they were able to get to the wave first, they were able to clear it out and kind of get that early ticket lead. There are 4 tickets in the lead, which is nothing really too significant, but it's palpable.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of lead that you can build and extrapolate and make a bigger lead out of. But, when it comes to Golden Experience, there's really no difference between these two teams. Everyone does have their ultimate online. Gold distribution, Game Hunter is quite far ahead, whereas MLC Stealth and Anster are a little bit further ahead of the rest of their team. But, it's going to come down to who can carry the weight. Game Hunter is a very strong player. We all know that. Bacchus is a very strong character. If he can really show us what he can do with that Bacchus, that 2-1 Bacchus could be a big factor. And COG, they're going to feel that. I'm a monster too late, but 2 deaths off of the cage. A very different style of fight coming out from TSM, and they absolutely crushed Cognitive there. And now Cog, they're clear, just respawn. They should be able to get rid of these creeps, but wow, that was brutal.
The aggression is insane, and that's really what TSM is all about here in the arena. They're kind of taking the whole idea of being in a bloodbath down on the sand very seriously, and they're taking that down to heart, even in the conceptual aspects. Looking at atomization here, nothing really too shocking. We do have Sovereignty Rush on Jeff Hindley. He just loves doing that in arena, and honestly, with Athena, you can't blame him. So he's going to be kind of rushing that aura up for his team, going to help a lot with the initiations that come out. We do have 2 Hide of the Urchins, 1 for Trix Tank, 1 for Game Hunter across the way for TSM, and 1 coming soon for Endenster as well. So we're going to see that kind of stirred up here. Penetration for MLC Stealth. Looks like he might be going for a Bancroft's Talon or possibly a Polynomicon with his next item, depending on how he wants to progress up the tree. Combat Blink available Barracuda, but again we have a situation where he does not have that purification beads, so if he gets CC chained, he will die.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he can get a greater Aegis to remove that crowd control and go into that Aegis form, which is nice and helpful, but beads allow you to fight and move, whereas greater Aegis, you're in one spot, and against Scylla, it doesn't help that much, because it's like, okay, well, you didn't die to the Bacchus burst, but now you're sitting in one spot. I know when you're going to become vulnerable again, you just drop the monster, and it's a kill. Easily confirmed. So Barracuda could be in a lot of trouble here from this ability choice, and he's gonna have to really position well. You cannot have TSM get an initiation like they did earlier. That initiation was just too perfect.
Oh yeah, around the wall, and even after the fact that they just didn't, they weren't really perfect in it. But the results were perfect. It's exactly what they wanted from it, and that's what they needed. And then they keep continuing to do it. That's going to give them a very significant lead here. 19 tickets. That's a lot more than it was prior. And so TSM is growing that little by little. They're putting the water on it. They're putting the sunlight down the center and making sure that it grows naturally to the point that, when it comes down to blows at the end of the arena, you're not too worried. You have that enough of a gap where you can kind of lean on minions rather than leaning on the kills themselves, which is kind of, it's amorphous. It's hard to know exactly what the kills are going to bring you if you're going to get kills at all. Itemization here a little more progressed. We do have a combat blink coming out from Zeus. Of course, these are both really just to counteract the Odin ultimate, but it has more implications. If Bacchus is about to land on you, you can blink away, or Scylla, Ko tries to slow you down with Crush, you can blink away, and there's really that repositioning power, but mainly it's just to not be trapped in by Odin.
And, a big part of it is Cog likely doesn't want to fight for another 5 minutes, because they need to wait for their Zeus to come online. They need to wait for their Chronos to come online. And even when you look at the front line, like Guan Yu has a great early game, Sun Wukong is okay with his poke, but Bacchus and Odin and Tyr are much stronger early game characters. I mean, Bacchus and Odin alone, right? I'd say Tyr's on par with Guan Yu, but those 2 picks are just so strong right now. They're probably the strongest 2 characters in this match at this moment. And Cog wants to wait for that to fall off a little bit.
Oh, definitely. They're playing for the late game. They play for the late game every single game. We've watched them. The last 3 matches have been all about making it to the late game. And there's initiation trapping. 3 Trix Tank wants some. There goes the Crush jumping in. Tyr's going to get there. MLC goes down right away. Our monster going to land down, doing minimal damage there. Omega running interference, pulling them all back and disengaging. Enitzer wants the stun. Cubo's trapped out. Looking for the stun on top. Going to get it. Crush comes through. But Enitzer gets a kill on Cubo. Fred now looking for the follow-up. Up in his cloud is going to be Omegatron. Enitzer knocked up. There's the hit. Can they get the kill? 1, 2, 3 basic attacks, gets the hit. Youngbay with a basic attack, relying on his hunter roots as Scylla killing off the last hit on Enitzer there. So overall, a little bit of a ticket differential for TSM, but Cog's starting to clear the gap.
Yeah, it's going to be a 14 ticket difference right now. I believe that match was Stealth went down really early, and Cog said, okay, we can't just have them get a free kill. They went 2 for 2 in that engagement. That's okay, because right now they're waiting. They're waiting for their opportunity. That's going to happen, I'd say, about when the teams are sitting at 200 tickets, and they just don't want Team SoloMid to get too far ahead in that time. Now, you do have a decent gold lead from Team SoloMid, and a big part of that is Game Hunter on Bacchus going directly into an Obsidian Shard. He plans on doing a lot of damage this game, and he's already been really pulling his weight there. I mean, That Odin cage into the Bacchus, that's how Stealth died. He didn't get a chance to use his combat blink.
Yeah, it's the whole point. Just CC them repeatedly until that really doesn't matter. Silence, slows, whatever the case may be, making sure that they just never get the opportunity to blink out. They never get the opportunity to use their escape mechanism, whatever it is, whether it's purchased or not. And then that way, they never have to worry about them, really using it to the full effectiveness. Hey, if they use it later to disengage away from like an Isis ultimate or something, that's fine. But, that's kind of a win-win for them. That's the situation they're using their escape on, that they put so much effort into, as well as the fact that there's a long cooldown. So if they can get an inefficient usage for Combat Blink with 180 seconds on the cooldown, especially with an Arena, you look at it, Arena is, around 20 minutes, 180 seconds, that's a minute and a half total. And so, I'm sorry, that's 3 minutes. I'm just not having the mental day of math today, but, it's a long cooldown. And so really, if you get any inefficient usage, you're going to have a free window, whereas you're really only using it 6 or 7 times a match.
Yeah, but the other thing is Combat Blink is such a powerful escape, right? So when it does work, it's a big deal, and those 6 or 7 times a match could make the difference, especially against an Odin composition like this. I think it's close to a necessity, not necessarily one, but it's not that far off, and it just comes down to cognitive gaming using those blinks in the right places and blinking to the right places. They can't. If you blink into a spot that's just as bad as where you were, well, that's going to be a big problem. Cognitive is pushing forward. Jeff Hillen's going to blink, looking for Lobster, who's in a lot of trouble. That's a pick. Lightning Storm to zone off Game Hunters. Cubo Fred goes in, and the Defender of Olympus to defend MLC Stealth there. Cubo Fred getting very low. Barracuda will be able to pick up that kill as Anister's in a really tough spot. Intoxicate secures that kill. But hey, they'll take 2 for 1. They'll definitely take 2 for 1.
Oh, easily, but maybe even more as the second comes out. And Kronos, you mentioned it. There's the Combat Blink coming out for Barracuda. He does not want anything that TSM is handing out for free there. So 298 to 287. TSM wave for wave has the lead. And COG, they're kind of feeling the heat now, especially given the fact that TSM has late game characters this time. They're not playing for the early win. They're not worried about the progression of the game, because the progression of the game allows them to come out on top, benefits them in a lot of ways. Double taunt right side, looking for Lobster. That's the top. Big burst on Lobster. Cubo gets low. The detonator not enough, but looks like Anister wants to follow up with it. Crush gets the distance. There goes the kill. Cubo goes down. Very low HP. Is Anister Spirit Ball not going to land there? Kong up in the air. Omega looking for his target. Anister will go down to Bacchus. Is damaged. There goes the detonator on top of Game Hunter. Bacchus is going to avoid the taunt from Athena as they disengage entirely, but TSM gets a good kill there, as well as COG initiating right on the right side. So, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was big. And, I want to see what the difference is when all waves are equal. There it is. It's going to be 20, and a big part of that is not only did TSM get the 1 for 1, but they got a creep advantage off of it, because they were able to return to the middle lane clear, as quite a few minions of Team SoloMid's minions died to the cognitive gaming creeps, which is really, you don't want that to happen. Your creeps are essentially your enemy, because not only are they giving your opponents tickets, but they're taking tickets away from you.
That's exactly right. I mean, the tickets, it's like this negative thing, and so you're looking at the minions that go into the portal. You're also, not only are you removing a ticket from the enemy team, but you're also removing the team's possibility of taking a ticket from you by killing it. And so it's almost a 2-ticket differential if it goes to the portal there. There goes the spears from Odin, blinking. It's going to be Tier junking down from above. Kronos pops purification bead. Spirit Ball is going to stun out Omega, but that's just going to slow him down for the time being. Backside, Athena ultimate. There goes the kill. Omega trying to kill off Lobster. Now they're trying to go for Scylla. Sentinel will get some distance, but Athena falls up very heavily. Does the taunt land as purification beads pops up. Very low damage. Here's ultimate from above. Chain Lightning is going to hit home. Scylla goes down, but Anister will fall as well. Looking for Game Hunter. There goes the time rip, but it's not going to hit. Rewind will get some distance. How much will it go? It actually puts him further into danger. The time rip's not going to hit. The time stop's not going to hit. And Barracuda trying to get out completely. The blink, the fearless doesn't get interrupted by the taunt entirely. And the time rip's on the ground looking for MLC, but he has no follow-up from Cue Ball Fred. Shield from the Aegis will actually put charges up on Tier and allow him to charge the 3 charge detonate and stun him in place. What an amazing engagement that was.
Yeah, I mean, that was really impressive. It's now going to be a 7-ticket difference, and Cognitive Gaming, they're pulling their way back into this one. And of course, I mean, this is the time we expect them to, right? Because this is when they really have the power of Zeus. They really have the power of Chronos. I think especially once Barracuda finishes that Tahuti. But it's going to be some damage out onto Youngbei. He's in a tough spot. Gets absolutely eradicated by Omegatron. Anster will be pushed away. Spirit Ball to pull up. He's going to get on his horse just in time. And he's going to be using it to charge over to the creeps and help with some of the clear. And that's going to be Cognitive Gaming. Well, the minions are clear, and 3. It's a difference of 3. The tower does spawn, and Zeus is going to use it as a chance to get some free poke, but the tower will fall. Make no mistake about that.
Yeah, caught in place, didn't even make it to the center of the map. Poor tower. They spent so much effort and resources and materials building it, and it ended up just crumbling down in the center of the map there. Taunt looking for Lobster. There's the time rip. Time stop might be enough. Each team is going to build up the charges. The detonate is not going to be enough, but the basic attack will. Lobster goes down. Minions have reached the portal on the top side. Now Still going to back off here. There goes the Sentinel as Omega completely puts him back into the base. So Cog actually turns around, picking off Isis. The minions are exploding. I think that the biggest thing about these engagements for Cog is that even if TSM gets momentum, Cog is still finding a way to multitask. They're clearing minions while they're fighting, and that's paying off in the ticket numbers total. TSM had a pretty significant lead, but Cog's been clearing it little by little.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's just kind of what Cog's always been good at, is the chaotic team fights. We see one here, and Anister's going to be in a bad spot, able to dash out with Warrior's Will. I'm a monster, not going to connect. Aegis just in time. There's the cavalry charge, and he is building defensively too. So Hard to Kill finds the stun. Cubo, Fred goes down. Anister played that so well. Youngbei in the back. Omegatron will fall. Youngbei will as well. And with that carry going down, Barracuda and Stealth, they're going to have free reign here, trying to get damage onto the front line, but they're not going to mind. The front line's going to turn on them. LC Stealth in trouble, backing away as Game Hunter's a very, very scary Bacchus. I mean, Urchin, Cooldown Boots, Obsidian Shard, Polynomicon, he's straight up a bruiser. He's, in fact, I'd say he's a fairly light build on defense, and he's still very hard to kill.
Game Hunter, 5-1-5. He's actually done the most damage in the game by far up until this point. Bacchus is kind of the new thing for everybody, as most people are realizing that damage is just off the charts that he's able to do. And of course, like you mentioned, his stat gains are really high, and so he can keep himself safe while he builds these damages. So Polynomicon hitting very, very hard for Bacchus, kind of throwing his wine all over the place, or I guess eggnog in this situation with that Christmas skin. So right now, I mean, it's mainly tied up, but Cog has a lead as it goes to wave here as this wave gets cleared out. 160 to 155, so about an 8-ticket lead here for Cog. Now, this is a little bit difficult, given the fact that, you know, going into Game 2, Cog had the first lead, and so if they win this, they move on to the finals, and TSM is stuck.
Yeah, I mean, if they take this game, it's going to be a big accomplishment, a lot of momentum as well, but Omegatron, he's in a fair amount of trouble, gonna hover away. The ring will find Anister, but a Lightning Storm inside, Circle Protection charging up, pops on Jeff Hemla. He's not too worried about that one. The cavalry charge coming through, looks like it's going to be a stun onto Game Hunter, but Cog, they can't find a target they want to go on. They're going to turn on Cubo Fred. Found that one. And they're biding their time. They're dropping damage onto anyone they can hit, and then it's an instant target call, right? It's instantly go on Cubo. He's low enough. We can burst to kill. You saw it there. Cognitive Gaming is really playing these chaotic team fights so well.
Oh, they absolutely are, and it's like, it's the people that have their eye in the big picture always, whether it be on Smite or elsewhere, are the ones that shine the most. That's what Cog is doing here. They have the fight, and they have so many things in the fight they have to do. They have to avoid CC, they have to avoid big ultimates, big AoEs, they have to, you know, make sure utilization from the enemy team is low, and they're missing things, but also have to focus on minions. Don't let the siege through. Don't let minions through the portal. Make sure you're getting last hits on the minions around you. Make sure you're being very aware of your surroundings, and Cog has been doing very, very well and managing the two together. and that everything is working in their favor. And because they're so good at multitasking here in this situation, they've pulled back the ticket differential. Even when it's not wave to wave, they're sitting at about 18, 19 tickets between the two. There's 19 tickets total between TSM and COG, and TSM is feeling the heat now. Almost 100 tickets left in the game. They lost game 1. They're on an EU server for the second time in a row, and COG is still pulling the victory. Now, and that's no small feat either. You're playing against the #1 team in the world coming out of the release of Smite and making it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, they're really driving this one home, and you know, it's a 19 ticket lead right now, and that's a decent lead to go into the final 10 with, but we saw what COG would do in those final 10 tickets in the first game. I mean, they dove a minion when it spawned, and there wasn't anything Team SoloMid could have done to stop them. TSM's got a timer ticking over their heads, and Cognitive, they've got the advantage. They've got pressure, and you know, I think this is really the part of the game where if TSM isn't cool, calm, and collected, they're going to start having a lot of trouble because they could really start losing their cool right here. This is when the end is nigh. It's still a 19 ticket lead. Omegatron forced to ultimate there. He's not going to be too worried about that one, as it will be back up rather soon.
There's initiation coming out from the wave. Make sure it goes away. Taunt, looking for it. Not going to find it. Young Bay uses purification beads to avoid it entirely. Omega doing a good job holding down the front line, making sure no one can pass him to look for the squishy. Oh, Game Hunter wants this one. Pops the weakening curse, just making sure that they don't go too far. I'm sorry, the enfeebling curse to make sure that they don't go too far with the slow. Now on cooldown, Own traps in Chronos. Rewind immediately. Going to be just enough to avoid the burst damage, but now walks into a crush from Scylla. Trying to get away. Cubo Fred has the damage output needed on the Guan Yu. Ice ultimate on the ground. They need the damage. Oh, looks like Youngbay's going to miss the ultimate. I'm a monster. Not going to hit home. Barracuda goes down. Bach is back in the fight. Has ultimate. The belly flop does wonders here. The Polynomica is available. There goes the stun on it. It's their killing spree for MLC. Cubo goes down. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. Still continue on looking for Anitzer. Good top from Athena. There's a crush on the ground. Good damage here to Omega, forcing him back to the base as Telesalt comes out from Guan Yu, forcing them back to their base. But a 1-for-1 trade here with COG so far ahead. TSM can't be too happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's 89 to 67, so that's rough. Oh my god, why can't I do math right now? I think it's like 22.
Numbers!
22, yeah, 22, okay. 22 difference. I think a big part of that was Barracuda went down, COG couldn't drive it home, but MLC Stealth, he covered for Barra very well, putting out more damage. He used beads both defensively and offensively at the same time, right? He was getting pushed on, CC was about to come out, he used the beads to ensure he couldn't be crowd controlled, could still get his damage off, and it reset Chain Lightning. And resetting Chain Lightning on Zeus is very powerful because that ability pumps out so much damage. Cognitive Gaming is looking pretty nice going forward. They've got a comfortable lead, but it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, it's not enough for them to just say, hey, this is in the bag. But it's enough for them to say, hey, we got some comfortability here. There goes a taunt from Jeff Hin looking for Lobster, immediately reacted to. Guan Yu coming out. Athena ultimate is going to be late here, but it might buy some time. There's this drop in from Odin. Now Lobster is caught inside. Unfortunately enough, his teammate forced him to blink into his own well, but Jeff Hinla is going to the well as well, and he's not feeling it very well right now. As Game Hunter gets jumped on, the time rip comes down on top. Belgian got scared over pockets. It's a double stun. I'm a monster landing on Omega. He gets up to the air, but insane cannot be said about Anitzer, who's being juggled like a big wiffle bat ball as Omega disengages to the bottom side of the map. It's a 5-man push coming out from TSM. Great reaction. Now COG is on the back burners. 52 to 49. The tickets have tied up. TSM is almost in the lead. The differential is very, very minimal. Just about 9 or 8 tickets there between the two. A great initiation from TSM and COG. They're starting to fall apart a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be down to 11 right now, and that's much smaller than it used to be. So, Cognitive Gaming, I mean, they're starting to lose their lead, right? It looks like maybe we're going to see a relatively even match at the 10 to 10 mark, and it's definitely going to be at the point where COG can't just go all in. They can't attack willy-nilly and try and force that one kill, you know, like give up 4, get 1, win the game off of it. That's not going to be an option here. They have to play it cool. They have to play it tactically. They have to look for what's been getting them the kills so far in this game. But TSM, they've been able to bring it back. They're in control of this game right now, even if they are behind, because they know that their initiation is the one that's going to start the next fight. Cog hasn't really been able to find that money initiation yet. Jeff Henlo's trying with the blink and the taunt, but there's so much Magi's Blessing on the table now that he can't really find it, and if he does go too deep, as he did in that last fight, he could end up in a really dangerous spot.
Buff Gam's taken out. The ball's going to come through, but of course so many Magi's Blessings are available to protect the teams. And really, it's so valuable in Arena to have the Magi's Blessing. We've talked about this so many times, just that you have to have the protection from the initial engage because things can end very quickly. You know, in Conquest, because the map is so full of obstacles and objectives, it's hard to be able to be in one place at one time to all react fast enough to burst someone inside of one CC. But in Arena, you're all in one place anyway, and so that's all you have to do. You know, Scylla would have the ultimate, bring down a monster, but here comes Initiation. The Spears will keep them away. The Spirit Ball is going to land on Anister, be CC immune. Athena up in there is going to land on a tier. Looks like do damage to Trick Tank as well. On the ground, looking for Barracuda. I'm a monster, takes half his HP away, and he's been erased from the arena, looking for Stealth. Stealth's going to blink away, surviving by the skin of his teeth, but how far can he go? Crush on the ground, not going to hit anyone. Anister forced back in a sea of red. He's got nowhere to go himself. Anister falls down as well, looking for Jeff Hilla, but they just cannot get it. Sikkim doesn't have the distance, and Youngbay forced to hop back to base, but what a beautiful distance. But we're not done yet. It's a 3-8 ticket differential. The next kill for TSM will end it in their favor. Cog needs one more wave and a kill, and that is it. Cog cannot die here. They have everything on the line on this match, and they just do not want to lose. 2 more waves for TSM. They can't even leave. Honestly, if I was TSM, I wouldn't even leave the well. I would just sit back and wait for the waves to come to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the safe play, right? They gotta clear out those ogres, but you also don't want Cog to freeze the lane. Either way, this is the chance for Cog to go all in. Omega's gonna look for it. He's gonna find Lobster, but the Magi's Blessing slows him down. There's one more ticket on the board for Cognitive Gaming. 1-6. Anister on the horse, looking for Lobster. Lobster's still out in the Aegis. The shield wall will pop. Combat Blink gonna get him out of that one. 1 ticket left. Cognitive Gaming is going to lose it as Cubo Fred. You can see him on the minimap.
Cubo Fred.
He blinked for it. He went all the way, found the ticket, and we're going to get a Game 3.
Cubo Fred went in the back, and this is exactly what you see from teams that understand Arena. Everyone else ran back into the well. And you look at Cog, and Cog says, we can't win this by minions. We have to dive, we have to go hard, and we have to win this by getting a kill. And TSM says, okay, we recognize that fact. We're going to go into our well, we're going to hide from you, we're going to run away as far as we can and make you come to us in our well to try and win this game. Meanwhile, we're sending Special Agent Cubo in the backside to take out that one big minion is all we need. And again, Lobster. TSM understands Arena. You see Lobster, that big minion was low, and they were in the middle of an engagement. Lobster was under fire. He was literally being burned to the ground by Cog, and he maneuvered around the players attacking him because he saw that there was a big minion that was about to die to minions, and he was like, I need that. There's 2 tickets left. This is going to be one of them. I want to get 50% of the way there, and he goes around, hits the big minion, and blinks back into his base. He knows that the big minion is the most valuable thing that he needs, picks it up, and Cubo gets the other one, and Cog, after botching that last engagement, is just out of it. And this is why we say that Arena is so hard to control, is that if you're not perfect the whole way there, you can have everything turned around on you.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so difficult, right? Cog was in a lead at about the 70 ticket mark, right? They were up like 20, and then it turned. And suddenly it's a deficit. And then they go into the final tickets, they're behind. The best they could have done was, I believe, 1-5 was as close as they could get, but 1 ticket left. Someone's gonna dive your well, or basically dive your well to get that minion the moment it spawns. And that's the point where Cognitive Gaming just has to go all in, but they hadn't pressured Lobster enough before that fact, and he had his Aegis up, he had his Combat Blink up, and he was just able to drop all of his actives and his ultimate and his silence for the protections and survive. And you know, that's really a big part of being a mage player in Conquest and Arena. A big factor, a big part of your job is not dying, because you're going to be the target. But another target was Anister in this game. He died 6 times, really was not able to stay alive against Team SoloMid. That Guan Yu just not ending up particularly tanky, or perhaps he was a little overextended after he went for those aggression plays.
Yeah, I mean, it was so back and forth, right? Because TSM started the fight in the beginning, ended up going 2 for 2, but they got the minions, which means they got ahead. They were, building it more and more and more. They ended up getting all the way up to, a 20 ticket differential, and then COG brought it back. They had themselves a 25, 26 ticket differential, looking strong going towards the end of the game, but they didn't keep it up until the end, and TSM found the teamfight victory that they needed. So hopping here into Game 3, it'll all end this. This is basically the point where you just feel the quarterback's amnesia. You forget Game 1, you forget Game 2, you forget everything that has happened so far, and just try to play out this last match for the grand final opportunity. And we're going to see Shibalaki banned out, Freya banned out, Geb banned out, and then lastly, Odin banned out here. It's going to be first pick over to COG, so it looks like it's going to be another EU server since they're first picking.
Yeah, so COG's got that first pick. They're going to hover, they're going to lock in on Zeus. They know they want him. He wasn't able to carry Cognitive through that last game, but he did a pretty good job, and they think it's worth picking. Maybe the Chronos is what they want to change. Maybe it's the Guan Yu. Maybe it's the pick priority of not getting Chronos so early, because I think a big part of it was giving up that Bacchus and giving up a lot of kills to that Bacchus that allowed Game Hunter to really snowball. He was just such a factor.
Oh, he really was. I mean, Bach is so powerful. The damage, I mean, he was doing more damage than anybody in the game just playing Bacchus. And not only that, but he can tank, he can initiate, he can do a lot of things. And, everyone laughs at the drunken fool who stumbles through the party. But, when it comes down to it, he's the one that's making things happen. As you can see, him being, he's going to be first picked here, actually, for TSM. Hold on, see if we're going to block it in or not. Chronos picked and locked, actually. So Chronos and Bacchus, the first two picks for TSM. They want Bacchus again, but I guess they want to take Chronos away from Barracuda.
Right, I mean, Freya is banned, Zeus is picked already, but when you take the Chronos away, what's Barracuda going to play, right? Because those are the picks that we've seen him run. It's going to be the Sun Wukong and Athena hover coming out. No, it's going to switch to Tyr locked in, Athena locked in. That's some strong front line for Cognitive, but you still got to wonder. And it's going to come in those last two set of picks. Obviously, what's Barracuda going to play? Is he going to actually play a Hunter? Is he going to play Nuwa? Is he going to play a different mage? I don't know. There's a lot of options. And it's sort of like
strange.
Yeah, it's the unpredictable, right? You don't know.
Very strange that we have to wonder if Barracuda is going to play a Hunter or not. It's like all he ever plays. But, we're kind of mixing it up for Arena. Scylla locked in, Sun Wukong locked in there on the right side of your screen. So Sun Wukong not being picked up by COG. It's going to be hopped over to TSM, and they're going to be hovering for it as well. So the question is, what does COG want to round this off with? There's a lot available. Odin's gone, though. So Guan Yu is up. They have Athena, so they're probably going to... thinking about Guan Yu, we've seen a lot of things. Freya banned out here. So we'll... they need something that can jump in. So there's Bastet hovered on as well. Do they want to lock this in? So Guan Yu, great support. Athena, great support. Athena probably going to go to Jeff Inla. Emblesy's going to take Zeus. But they don't have that mage, double mage burst combo they're running. In fact, this is the first game that we've seen COG actually do a little bit different from what they've been doing. They're already running Bastet this time around, and maybe they just value Bastet more than some teams do. I mean, she's been banned out a lot, but when she has been played in these arenas, I believe she's been played twice today. Both games were lost on the Bastet side because the Cats just die too quickly early with how much AoE that's going on, and then she just never has the chance to get in late, but she's going to be locked in anyway, so COG just values her.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's... Barracuda's played a lot of Chronos this tournament, this cup. He's played a lot of Freya. He keeps playing the same role. Maybe he's saying, well, when I was playing Chronos, I was the most scared of Bastet. Maybe that's the thinking, and therefore, if they're gonna pick the character you were playing, pick the character you didn't want them to play. But a Hubwa locked in for Team SoloMid, that's a very strong mage. Incredible damage. Water Spout could be a little bit difficult to hit and confirm in Arena since it's just so open, but he does a lot of damage. You should always be afraid of Hubwa. I mean, that ultimate, right? It puts him out of position. And that's a big weakness, but wow, does it hurt.
I am not a fan of Hubwa in the arena. I think he is too much of a liability. He has a lot of damage. No doubt about that. The flowing waters. He has the Atlas as well, which is a fantastic skill to have in a big area of effect setting. But in arena, he is just too abusable. He's gonna have to buy Combat Blink. He's gonna have to even buy maybe Purification beats Spread, or Purification beats Combat Blink, or something. Because you look across the way. You have Chronos, you have Hobwa, you have Scylla, and there's gonna be the Guan Yu Athena combo. There's going to be Bastet, and I think that picking up Bastet like this was a fantastic grab, because now you have so many squishy, low mobility characters that are going to be exposed very heavily by that harassment, the poke. You have the Declaw 9 or the Razor Whip in the backside, and then the cat thrown out. If they don't deal with it, they're going to have to disengage entirely, and it allows Cog to shift their attention to like a Bacchus or a Sun Wukong, who are caught out as well. So I think as far as the picks go, Cog has a pretty easy road ahead of them. It's pretty standard. Just go for the right people, kill them, win the team fight, and sit back. Whereas TSM, they're putting all their cards in the late game, and the fact that they're going to be able to survive early against Cog, and maybe they have a very conservative strategy in mind as they go through the first stage of the game, that they're not going to just try to go crazy. They're just going to sit back, play safe, farm it up, and hope that Cog doesn't realize some of the weaknesses or even try to get too aggressive, because maybe TSM just won't be able to handle it. But on the flip side, they have a ton of damage. So if Cog botches their initiation, they will die. So this is a pretty razor-thin lineup here between the two teams. We're going to cut to a brief break. You're watching the last actual match from this set of games between Cog and TSM, and all hands here. We'll see who's going to the grand finals coming up next. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Game 3 of the second match of today. The semifinal round is halfway over here, almost, with Cog versus TSM taking place right now. Whoever wins this will be going to the grand finals, taking place tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to find out as this match comes to a close. Introducing our players, the bottom side of the map, the blue team, Cognitive Gaming. We have Omegatron on Guan Yu, Enminster on Tyr, MLC Stealth on Zeus, Barracuda on Bastet, and Jeff Hindla playing Athena.
On the other side of the map, that's the top side, and the red team is going to be Team SoloMid off of a strong victory. Cubo Fred on Chronos, Game Hunter once again on Bacchus, Lobster on Hobwa, Trix Tank on Sun Wukong, and Youngbei once more on Scylla.
Scylla kind of a point at pretty much every team so far. A lot of late game damage, a lot of control, and kind of hard to lock down if she's available. She has Magic's Blessing, Purification Beads, and Sentinel. But other than that, if you get her in a spot, she's very squishy, and we've seen that. If Scylla gets caught out, she doesn't last very long. But looking at TSM's lineup, they have Hobwa, they have Scylla, they have Chronos, and so if Cog can kind of coordinate their CC, as we know they're capable of, we may see a lot of deaths on TSM.
Yeah, we really could, but one thing I want to highlight right now is both of these teams don't have particularly good clear at this moment. We're actually seeing a fair amount of last hits not connecting just because of the nature of some of the abilities. Now, it sort of seems that whoever clears first has a bit of a disadvantage. Level 5 is starting to come out. Trix Tank getting to about half health. He's going to get burst down. Lightning Storm. Trix Tank goes down first blood. Cavalry Charge coming through from Omega. That Defender of Olympus will come crashing down. Game Hunter second blood. I'm a Monster connects onto 3 players, and that will be enough to send Cog back to
Cubo.
Where Cubo Fred is. He's in a horrible position. Dives the fountain. It didn't cost them any tickets as he died to an arena tower.
That's not your home, Cubo. Cubo's lost. So he saw, and honestly that's best case scenario for what happened, is he disengaged and he was trying to back. Unfortunately, Cog was paying attention. So what he did is he just dove in the tower, like you said, no tickets lost there. But they do have 2 tickets. They had the last hit. So Cog is taking a pretty demanding lead so far. And now we're going to have that opportunity for Cog to try to control the mid game. Now keep in mind, TSM does have a lot of damage. In fact, they have much more late game damage than Cog does. So they have that going for him. Double toss, shield wall reach, coming in, looking for Lobster Crush Wave, gets the distance. Barracuda wants the hit. He's gonna slap him down with that whip. The Shark will eat him and disparage him here as Basset gets out, looking for the Trix Tank on the backside, gets up in there just barely, as it could have been another kill for Cog, as Omega in the backside is gonna be slowed down by the Intoxicate. Youngbei in the front line, there's the Razor Whip, there's the damage up, but Crush is not gonna hit hard or hit at all as MLC is forced out by the Magic Cudgel, but Cog is coming out strong.
Yeah, they're really showing what they can do, and apparently Barracuda can play Bastet. Now, I mean, obviously, I'm sure all of you watching are thinking, well, Bastet's pretty hard, but playing an intricate will get taken down, but perhaps too many ultimates used. MLC South gets very low. Wow, Trickstank dead too. Cognitive Gaming, I think they're the team that has so much damage right now. It's absolutely absurd how fast people are dying.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the early game damage, right? You have TSM, they need the ramp. They need Scylla to ramp up. They need Kronos to ramp up. They need Habwa to ramp up. Granted, Habwa has some great damage early on. Scylla has some decent damage early on, but, you know, they're just waiting for that ramp. Now, right now, they're about 24 tickets behind, which is not as bad as it could be considering how aggressive COG has been. 5-0, and you're only 24 tickets behind. It's pretty much only kills. In fact, it's less than kills. So you're managing your last hits effectively if you're under so much pressure and still keeping up in the tickets. But it still is a pretty significant lead for COG, and TSM is just buying time until they can get that late game damage output. The question is it going to be enough in the team fight setting?
Well, you know, the other thing is, and this rarely happens in Arena, but there's a substantial gold lead. It's going to be 3,000 gold in favor of Cognitive, and at the 4-minute mark, that's a very big factor. So Cognitive Gaming, not only are they stronger in the early game, they're stronger because they have more gold right now, and that's really a great advantage to have in Arena. I mean, being literally stronger because you're richer than your opponents in an Arena setting is something that it's unbeatable. It's not unbeatable because this is a match and TSM certainly could win, but it's very hard to contend with.
Yeah, it's a big gold gap there, nearly actually over 3,000 gold now, and so that's enough to, you know, split between the team. It's going to be a pretty decent amount of gold overall. So there's the taunt coming through on Game Hunter. There's the jump. He does have belly flop if he needs it. There, oh, they stole away the movement speed buff actually, so that will go to COG. Athena's going to head on home and purchase something up. But looking at itemization here, we see Bancroft's done for Zeus. We see matches just being finished by Jeff Hinla. Barracuda about to finish off his Jotuns, it looks like, or possibly Titan's Bane, but looks like it's going to be the Jotuns. Now looking for the follow-up on Trickstank, who just got 3 charges and a Razor Whip on him. It's going to hurt a lot if they get close. It seems like you mentioned, COG has the early damage and they're pushing it pretty hard.
Yeah, and Lucistild was a little bit far forward there, but he was able to get out with the assistance of Jeff Hindler and that Defender of Olympus. And, you know, Trickstank also got very low, so it wasn't really a huge loss, just an ult to save a Zeus, and I'd ult to save a Zeus. He's very important to keep alive, especially when tickets are on the line. Now, the question is, Cognitive Gaming's had their lead. How do they push it the next time? And I think the answer is Jeff Hindla just keeps trying to start a fight, right? Dash and taunt, dash and taunt, dash and taunt, and eventually the fight will stick. But the other thing is finding the right timing. Going in when you just finish an item, which is now is all of COG has just finished their items, is a really good chance to start a fight. They're going to find Trickstank. His ultimate is available. Not going to be able to start channeling just yet. 3 stacks are up. The detonator.
But, you know, that's the biggest thing about Zeus. He has that after effect where even if you get away or you pop an Aegis, he's still stacking up. He's still applying the damage, and then when you try to get too far away, the lightning will find you. And right there, that's why they like Zeus so much. I mean, he's 2-0-4. He's the most farmed in the game. Looking the damage done, he's going to have 3,100. Now, Barracuda and Bastet is beating him, but they're pretty much tied here. So it's going to be Bastet and Zeus so far. And a lot of it comes down to poke as well. I mean, you got the Razor Whip, you had the Chain Lightning Detonate over and over and over, and then it forces TSM to do one of 2 things. They stick around at lower HP and they get picked off if the team fight starts, or they're forced back to the base, which means there's less people on the field for TSM, more opportunities to take minions, and more opportunities to take kills.
Yeah, and you know, those opportunities are so important right now because Cognitive Gaming is looking to establish a strong lead like the one they had in their first game. They don't want to go in even because really anything could happen under the circumstances, and it's just about looking for those initiations, right? Insert the blink, Jeff Hindle with the taunt, and, you know, in part Barracuda too, he could bait out a fight onto him, jump back, and then, well, now there's no Bastet for you to target. Now you have to contend with the stronger front line of Cognitive, or at least relatively stronger. I think right now, Tyr, Athena, and Guan Yu not only do they outnumber the TSM front line, but they're stronger in terms of gold and itemization. So that's pretty scary.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. And that's the biggest thing is that, you know, TSM has the late game, but COG certainly has the farm, and so that may balance out enough where COG can get the damage they need, especially on squishy characters. Now, TSM has the late game damage, but do they have the late game team fight is the question, and it comes down to who starts the fight and how well they start the fight. Youngbei rushes up Rada to Hootie here. Now it looks like he's going straight for penetration by picking up that magic focus, and it's amazing how much damage Scylla can do once she has a little penetration and a lot of damage, and with that rod completed, they may be watching out for her.
And here's another thing that I just started to think about is when you've got 3 backline characters, you have 3 targets to initiate on, right? If you're Team SoloMid, you want to get on the Zeus, and I guess you could get on the Bastet, but that's pretty tough too. Whereas Cognitive Gaming, they could start a fight on Haba, they could start a fight on Chronos, they could start a fight on Scylla. They can go down to initiation, but COG, they're not pushing their advantage just yet. They're sitting with it. And right now they're sitting at a 33 ticket difference, which is quite nice at 9 minutes.
Absolutely, and one thing we haven't talked about as much as well is that this is going to be an EU server, so TSM has the home court.
Oh, it's NA actually. It's NA.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So they got first pick there, and then ended up getting the NA server. In fact, since they did play the first 2 games with EU, now NA, as the last round, very very strong. And so they're trying to leverage that. I'm sure it's going to be a lot easier. Jeff Finley with a taunt there on Game Hunter, forcing away chain lightning coming out there. Tricks tank, Zeus ultimate on the ground, he's able to get up on the cloud pretty easily. Damage output from Hobble, the slow coming through as well. Backside Barracuda wants some damage up there on the Game Hunter here. I think it'll keep him safe. Guan Yu going deep, looking for Game Hunter. 1, 2, 3. Misses the slice. Game Hunter with the juke. Belly flops away because it's the reaches and enough tier. Dunks it. Gets it in the well as he tries to escape. Scylla has the damage on an answer, but he gets the distance he needs to disengage entirely, plus the guard stance cleave. That was on the edge inside his own home.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, Anister barely didn't make it out there. He took the crush, and then he dashed out of a time rift. Like, it was under him. He started his dash and got out of it by, I think his heel just stepped out of it as it exploded. In fact, he might have burned his Achilles tendon a little bit. It was so close, but Anister was able to make it, and that's going to be a good kill. I mean, their lead's just getting bigger and bigger. When it's going to be wave to wave, it's going to be 310 for Cognitive. So a 41 ticket lead, 310 to 269. That's a lot, and if things go as they are, it's going to get bigger and bigger. A 4K gold lead is also nothing to sneeze at. Cognitive Gaming is looking so good. TSM just has to find something, but I don't know what it's going to be.
The lead is getting bigger and bigger here for COG. TSM is kind of put on the chopping block. There's a kill on Tricks Tank already. Now looking for Game Hunter. Belly flop should be coming up soon. There's the pounce. It's not soon enough. There's the I'm a monster, but doesn't do the damage they hoped it would. Zeus ultimately gonna force him back to the base. The detonate almost killing off Youngbei. And again, it comes down to the fact that TSM just doesn't have the team fight. They have the damage, but they never really get to use it. A siege minion will spawn here in the center of the map, running down through towards the pillars. And now COG is in complete control here. 50 tickets in the lead over TSM. Now they have to deal with a siege minion. They're going home. They're purchasing items. The gold is getting bigger and bigger as well. Oh, that 3-man taunt, the first damage. That tear duct comes from above. Lobster purification beads, but how much will it buy him? The shell is on the ground, buying protections for TSM. Youngbei going back to the base. The Razor Whip's going to do a lot of damage to him. Each time it gets popped, Cubo makes it back as well, but very, very low on HP. Crush now on cooldown. Girdle means go. They want it. They're looking for Game Hunter. Game Hunter gets taunted out. He has no one to intoxicate right now, as of course that is on cooldown. So the damage is really just coming for a belly flop as well as the belch of the gods, but he's got no one to look for, and Kosh is going to disengage entirely. Looks like Youngbei did go down to Barracuda in the back after coming out of the well. So now we're heading to an even bigger lead, 60 tickets for COG.
I get the feeling that we're going to see Bastet in the duo lane now, because Barracuda is really killing it. And what happened there, MLC Stealth ran out of mana. And so he started to turn and run. TSM was looking for it. Lobster, he got looked at and he got taken down. MLC still landing that last auto attack, I believe, to secure that kill. Youngbei dies to Barracuda again. It looks like Barracuda says, alright, I respect you as a hunter, but when you're a mage and I'm an assassin, it's time to go to town. Barracuda is just... he will not get out of Youngbei's grill. This is harassment. It's crazy.
Report him.
Yeah, report it for sure.
Report him.
After game.
Harassment, after game lobby. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly what COG wants. And TSM's, and honestly, you can't fault anyone but TSM for picking a lineup like this. I mean, this lineup just screams, abuse me. That's all it is. I mean, you got Habwa, Scylla, Kronos, and you're hoping on Bacchus, who, Bacchus is quite good, but doesn't have the amount of peel that you'd want. He has the knock-up and the stun, but it can be interrupted. The Intoxicate does well, but doesn't completely deter them. And Sunwukong, same thing. He can knock them up once with Warrior's Will, possibly once with the Ox, or replace that with a Cat for a stun, but that's a single target. So, we have all of COG bearing down on someone like Scylla, Kronos, or Habwa. There's not a whole lot TSM can do about it other than being in the right place in the first place. Positioning is so important, and preemptive positioning is even more important. But, you're looking at Arena, where's there a place to be? Except for the blink in, Lobster, burst damage, Girdle means go. Looking for the Dark Lobster, force out, can't get the distance. Razor Whip's not going to be enough to finish him off. There's the crush, I'm a monster, hits stealth, drops the half HP, Zeus ultimate on the ground, behind time, Cats come out as well. Sunwukong up in the air, will he go for it? He's going for a stealth, but stealth's getting out in the distance. He needs Youngbei comes through as well. He's so very low. There goes the kill. Barracuda kills Youngbei. There's a stun on top. Kronos force out completely. He doesn't have a rewind. He does have a rewind still in case he wants to get out. Lobster goes down, stealth goes down as well. Looking for Gamer, the belly pop, the two match. That's how it's all. Megatron gets the kill on Gamer, forcing him out. Now Trickstake gets knocked up into the air. There goes the Raider up. There goes the pounce. Can Kronos get the kill? Looking for it. Doesn't have the distance. Bats at 2 pounds. She pounces back. She's looking for the kill. Trickstake getting forced out as well. Flying away, but Andy gets the Blake claim. Takes him out. Trickstake goes down. It's still going on. Looking for Answer, the crush, the burst, the fearless, the knockup. He's not done yet. Anderson's still going strong. Habwa misses the water spout, and Bonk is trying to get the kill, but just can't get it. Anderson makes it out alive. The blink from Habwa will be enough. Chain Lightning does not land there. As Stealth is going to go down, he will fall there, but how did Anderson survive?
Tyr's a pretty difficult god, and when your team is coming and rallying to you, they can get you out of a pretty tough situation. But the other thing I want to touch on is sovereignty, right? When you have 3 backline characters, 3 mages, sovereignty is going to reduce the damage they take by a substantial margin. I believe it's like 20%. TSM doesn't have one. And I think part of the reason their mages are dying is that lack of sob. Cubo Fred gonna get taunted out, and Megatron getting aggressive with that Telu Assault to stave off those protections. Lobster taken down by Stealth with a Lightning Storm. Youngbei as well falls to Ananster. Cubo Fred gonna rewind, but look at where he went back to. He's in the middle of the map. He's gonna have to make a run for the fountain again. Trickstank falls to Stealth up front. Cubo Fred makes it into the fountain for the second time this game. He will not die to Barracuda, but Barra gets an assist. That's not supposed to happen once, and it happened twice. I mean, wow.
He's not invited over, but he keeps showing up. That's kind of just what happens. He's not invited into the home, but he's just walking in, and that's trespassing. And he's been punished for it twice now. But it's just, you see the surrender vote coming out. I think TSM really understands the situation they're in, and they really just can't come back from this one unless COG starts throwing it away like that. Omega picked off here. I'm a monster gonna completely miss, but Cubo and Youngbei has to disengage out of this fight. Barracuda dropping low, but he does have the pounce. Basset highly mobile here. Lobster dropping low. Zeus looking for the chain lightning, just doesn't have it. No lightning storm either. There's Trickstake looking for the kill on Barracuda, trying to go all the way in, but the tear duct's gonna be enough. The Cats come out, the belly flops in rage, he dodges it, he goes back underneath it like a rainbow, and after Game Hunter, it's gonna be these 3 Cats slowing him down. They can't keep up entirely, but here goes Kronos. Kronos gets the kill on Stealth. That's a 2 kill for TSM so far, but Sunwukong died in the process. A very slow game for them, but 68 to 174, it's a colossal difference.
Yeah, it's a really big difference, and I think COG has actually loosened up a little bit, and they're being riskier, and that's okay because they're so far ahead, and we actually do see Trickstank falling to Barracuda there. They can't get too risky, right? Because Team SoloMid could still potentially come back. The Death Timer's really long. Stealth is in a lot of trouble. Belly flop, not gonna knock him up, but it will find the damage. Cubo Fred able to secure, and he's becoming a late game giant. But he will fall before he can rewind. Answer not able to find Youngbei over on the right-hand side, trying to run out, but he's actually going to look for Lobster. The bubble is up, so Answer's damage isn't going to connect, needs to wait for it to fall. Jeff Henley not able to get that bubble off. Answer taking a fair amount of damage, heals back up with that power cleave, and now Jeff Hindley and Omega, they're going to look for another engagement, stopped by that root. The aggression just doesn't end. Cog is just fighting. They're deathmatching. Cubo Fred on the right-hand side going to take the Pounce and Razor Whip, drops him to half from 2 abilities. Now that's an assassin, and 150 to 30, I think that might actually be insurmountable. Right? 10 waves is 60. Right. 60 tickets in 10 waves. They're up over 60. I think Cognitive Gaming could actually just sit in the well.
Well, they'd have to get credits. They just sit back and try to just clear off the minions, but they're not going to do that. There's I'm Monster hitting Anister on the backside, looking for the kill on Lobster. He's dropping low. Athena going to land on top of Anister, going to damage to Game Hunter here. Huge burst. Detonate comes through. The Magic Blessing prevents the stun from the Detonate, but here comes the Cat, the Pounce, the kill. 13 tickets on the board here for TSM as they follow up the kill. Oh, here comes the War Charge. The Cavalry charges on top, looking for Youngbae. Tao's going to get the kill there. 8 tickets left. Now looking for Senukan. Goes up onto his cloud to watch the death from below. Trickstank's decoy is going to try and distract them, but it's not going to be enough. Dunking down, looking for Omega. Omega more likely looking for Trickstank in this situation. Stealth does go down. Barracuda dropping low. The Fearless into the wall. Trickstank may have gone too far. He did indeed. 2 tickets left. They might go for one more kill. The taunt is prevented by Hubwa's Magi's Blessing as he jumps away on his surfboard, but now the full minion wave. That big minion is going to be worth 1, and this is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. 1 ticket left. There's no... Oh, the big minion in the back. If they get the last hit, that's all they need. The burst comes out and it goes down. TSM loses to Cog in the 3rd match, 118 tickets to 0.
Wow. I mean, Cog just killed it. The moment they get on their home server, they win by, well, 20 kills and 22 deaths. Because the 2 times Cubo Fred died to a fountain. He actually died to the fountain more than he died to Cognitive, which is an impressive statistic. But, you know, I think it just came down to composition itemization. There was so much backline on TSM. They couldn't keep Youngbae alive. They couldn't keep Lobster alive. They actually couldn't keep Trickstank and Game Hunter alive either because the backline fell so many times that the front line was so strong, or Cognitive was so strong that Sun Wukong and Bacchus weren't techs anymore. They just got annihilated. They took so much damage so quickly that they fell, and Cognitive just controlled that game from minute 1 to minute 20. Unbelievable.
Well, we looked at it in the picking stage, Ryan, and it really just came down to how they constructed their team. And, you know, we talked about it during the picking stage that we had concerns about the sustainability over there on TSN, that, yeah, they have a lot of damage, but they're not going to be able to do it because there's so much gap clearing from Cog that as soon as they get initiated on, they won't be doing anything but running away in fear. And, you know, Chronos, Scylla, Hobwa all being picked together means that they have just too many liabilities and too little time to take care of them. And so that was just death after death after death. And really, it's unfortunate that Trickstank, you know, it's the kind of like the support syndrome where, you know, you're behind and not tanky enough, but your job is to protect it. So he kept, in fact, he died 9 times that game. And so he really was just diving on top and trying to get something done, but there was nothing left to do. I mean, looking at the damage numbers overall, you can see that a lot of damage was dealt. In fact, 35,000 damage was dealt in the 20-minute match by MLC Stealth on Zeus. That AoE was insane. Bastet dropping 32,000 herself. So once they had that early start, it was all locked up, and what a match it was. 2-1 victory to Cog. They're going to be going into the grand final starting tomorrow at noon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to kind of do a brief break and then going into the last semifinal round of the day. If you're excited about watching as much as I am, it's going to be Exposed Secrets versus the Game Changers. Stick around. We'll be right back.